Steppin Out is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
It happens here each week. We step out and enjoy our region's events and rich culture.
We are proud to support WYES.
Roll camera.
The American Italian Cultural Center and Museum on South Peters in New Orleans offers event venue space, Italian language classes, dual citizenship and translation services, seminars, genealogy, and trips to Italy. Ciao, AmericanItalianCulturalCenter.com. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.
I'm Peggy Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, she's back, Poppy Tucker. Yay! We missed you. Host of Louisiana Eats on WWNO Radio. Hey, Miss Poppy.
Peg.
Hello, and it's so nice to see Alfred Richard, movie critic for WWL-TV. Hi.
Hello
hey
there, Peggy.
And Alan, it's always good to see you. Okay, editor of the Crescent City Jewish News and Theater Criticism.com.
Yes.
Back from NYC, you lucky guy. Okay.
Yep.
And Brian Altobello, author of Whiskey, Women, and War, How the Great War Shaped Jim Crow New Orleans, which has recently come out on paperback. But we've also got the hardback copy here too, right? Good to see you, Brian. Hello, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Oh,
Peg.
absolutely. Poppy, 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 it's almost Thanksgiving.
Gobble, gobble, Peg. So I've got lots of ideas, whether you're having Thanksgiving at home or if you'd like to dine out. So let's talk about what to do if you're having an at-home Thanksgiving and you just don't want to cook. I'm going to start off at the Commissary Market and Kitchen. And of course, this is the hub of all of Dickie Brennan's operations. There you can pick up a feast for 6 to 8 people. That's going to be a turkey ready to roast and delicious things like smashed sweet potatoes and spinach madeleine. There's cornbread andouille dressing, a house-made cranberry sauce gravy, and of course, pie. Now the important things are the order by dates. So you have to order by 5 p.m. this Saturday coming up, November 18th, and that is for pickup either Wednesday or Thursday. Then, oh, and goodness, they also have a duck confit pot pie and a ham option. There's a lot more than just Thanksgiving.
Ooh.
Then, how about having Donald Link and Steven Strajewski cook your Thanksgiving dinner? I always think that's a good idea. And so our friends at Koshan Butcher are ready to do it for you. Now, again, the order by dates. This is order by Sunday at 10 a.m. So if you can't make your decision for in time for the commissary, you've got till 10 a.m. And then you pick that dinner up either Tuesday or Wednesday. There's all sorts of add-ons, finger sandwiches, deviled eggs, charcuterie platters, and how about a boudin whole stuffed turkey? You know that's going to be grand. But there's also standing rib, shrimp, and eggplant casserole that's so good. Brussels sprouts, greens, lots and lots of great sides. Now, also from Donald and Stephen, La Boulangerie is where all the baking is going on. So you can order in advance, same times. You've got till 10 a.m. on Sunday, and you'd be picking up Tuesday or Wednesday those addictive potato rolls, cheddar and chive biscuits, and of course, pies and tarts. And how about chocolate croissant bread pudding if you're looking for something a little unusual? Now, do you not want to wait till Thanksgiving? Are you ready for a little Thanksgiving right now? Well, Copeland's has got you covered. You don't have to wait. Now, through Thanksgiving Day, with 48 hours advance notice, incredible deal. 6 to 8 people, 3-course dinner, $149. And you know, of course, you get the biscuits, the turkey and gravy. There's smothered ham and bacon green beans. Yum! Or another option with the Copeland site is that you can just get help. If you're panicking on Monday before Thanksgiving, go to the Copeland site. They'll help you out. Now, how about dining out? I don't think you can do better than Redfish Grill for their Thanksgiving buffet. Of course, you get all the traditional turkey and trimmings, but you get dozens and dozens of items like fresh shucked oysters. There's an enormous seafood station, an enormous dessert station. How about some pumpkin spice tiramisu? It's really a bargain. Adults for $69.95 and the kids are just $20. For a step up, Thanksgiving at the Miss River. In the Four Seasons, let Elan Shaya cook for you between 11:30 in the morning and 8 p.m. They'll carve that magical whole fried chicken right there tableside. The regular menu is also available. Are you looking for a view and a delicious Thanksgiving dinner? You cannot do better than Chemin à la Mer. And of course, that's Donald's restaurant that's upstairs in the Four Seasons. He will be serving, of course, the incomparable turkey and andouille gumbo. How about for dessert, satsuma buttermilk pie? And then the grill room. The grill room has been freshened up. They have an exquisite menu ready for you, but they also are offering very special wine pairings for $75. If you've never had Thanksgiving at Two Jacks, of course, that old favorite is open and available from 11 a.m. till 9 p.m. It's a bargain, too. 3 courses for $65. And Peg, I would be remiss to talk about food and not mention this Sunday. It's the Oak Street Poor Boy Festival from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. So get hungry and go eat poor boys on Sunday. You'll be in training for Thanksgiving Day.
Okay, thank you so much. And turning to Alfred.
Well, thank you, Poppy, for making the entire region hungry. I have to say, first of all, not only are we talking about food, wonderful food, we're also talking about movies that are in the area. And I want to talk about some of the movies that will probably get some very good consideration, possibly for Oscar, but are now not getting as much love from the public as they should. One of them is one of my favorites for the year, for the Oscars, Killers of the Flower Moon. Now, the reason why it deals with what happened in the 1900s, early 1900s, with the Osage indigenous tribe nation here in the United States being taken advantage of by unscrupulous oil grabbers, the best way I can describe it. Leonardo DiCaprio plays one of the people involved in this swindle. He is brilliant in this movie. He also has a great partner along with him in this one, Robert De Niro. You have DiCaprio, you got De Niro coming together in this one. Also, you have a recent Oscar winner as well, Brendan Fraser, who just won for The Whale. And he's back again. No longer does he have to do Encino Man or anything like that. And of course, you put Scorsese, you put DiCaprio, you put Brendan Fraser, and of course the director, Martin Scorsese. How can you go wrong with that powerhouse lineup? It is one of the best films of the year. I've already said this on Channel 4, as we now say WWL Louisiana. It is Killers of the Flower Moon. It's also showing at the Britannia Canal Place, the Broad Theater, and the AMC Elmwood in Clearview. If you have the chance, get to see it. As for another film that's just come out, remember Sideways a few years ago?
Sure.
This was a film directed by Alexander Payne, and it gave a lot of people the idea of saying, I'm not going to drink the Merlot. Well, you don't have to worry about drinking the Merlot in this one, but you'll have Alexander being back directing, but he's directing the man he worked with in Sideways, Paul Giamatti. Paul Giamatti is just incredible. This is a film in which Giamatti plays a crusty, cantankerous teacher at a northeastern school for boys. And he has to babysit young men who are left there for the holiday period. And he also deals with it, also one of the young women who works with him in this, Divine Joy Randolph.
Whoa.
She is treasure is there. Okay, you could tell I picked the picture. But and
She's divine.
yes, she is. And also a newcomer. This guy was discovered in a school of arts This is his first film, and he is brilliant in it. Dominic Sessa. He is one of the students that Paul Giamatti's character has to deal with. He is very good. He could be an outside pick for Best Supporting Actor nomination. So you could get to see The Holdovers. That's showing at the Britannia Canal Place, the Broad Theater, and AMC Elmwood. And let's go with some more star power. He won Best Actor for Joker a few years ago, Joaquin Phoenix, and now he's taking on a monumental role. He is playing Napoleon. And this is a performance of Napoleon that has strength, has pathos, and even has some humor in it as well. Joaquin Phoenix, you can see he really immerses himself in being Napoleon, and Vanessa Kirby is his princess in this film. She is very good in it as well. It will be coming out soon. It's going to be coming out on the 22nd, opening nationwide. It'll be in all the theaters in this area, but if you have the chance, see Napoleon. I wish the Napoleon Theater was still in operation.
Wouldn't that be perfect?
It would be great to watch the Napoleon movie on Napoleon.
On Napoleon. That's so perfect. Thank you so much, Alfred. And turning on to Mr. Allen.
Okay, well, Peggy, last week Leslie Castay stopped by to promote her starring turn in Looped, a play by Matthew Lombardo, who she portrays as Tallulah Bankhead, of course, the famous star of stage and screen. And, of course, she was known as a boozer, a pill popper, and a sniffer of all manner of drugs. While a lot of younger people may not know who she was or have any idea, Tallulah was as big a star as Taylor Swift or Beyonce of today. She was outrageous and outspoken. Nobody can be exactly like me, she used to say. Sometimes even I have trouble doing it, darling. So she was directed in this particular effort by Janet Shea. It expands on a legendary Hollywood story Alfred knows, in which Tallulah was supposed to sink one line of dialogue. It should have taken her maybe a half an hour at most. It took her 8 hours, ridiculously. Eric Lincoln plays Danny Miller, a studio film editor who's assigned to make that one loop happen and finish the film. But the truth is really that Tallulah can detect he's holding back, holding on to some terrible secret that's really eating him up. David Haydell Jr. plays the sound engineer Steve in this. Lombardo's script is really chock-a-block full with famous quotations from the star and really reflective of her breezy way that she went through life. Numerous lines describe her escapades in bed as well with whomever she decided, male or female. She has the countenance of an angel but curses like a sailor. Beware. Final shows for Loop Play this weekend. Now, a reminder about two other local shows upcoming. First off, at the Sanger Theater, Wicked will be returning once again, beginning a nearly 3-week run on November the 29th, and I'll have a review when we return on December the 7th. And also a 2-weekend run for the Ben Passage and Justin Paul musical, A Christmas Story, based on the movie, of course, by Bob Clark. It's hysterical. It's directed by Ricky Graham. It'll open on December the 1st. The musical will, of course, follow. We saw it here in 2019, but it follows a story about Ralphie and his rifle, etc. A live version of this aired, by the way, on the Fox network with an additional Hanukkah song that was sung by Anna Gasteyer. I don't know if that song will be in it or not. Go to Rivertown and find out about it. Now, several times a year, I have an honor and distinction of being invited to see several Broadway shows. And along the Great White Way, I was privileged this year to see some incredible shows. A masterclass by Patrick Page that was on the Shakespearean villains titled All the Devils Are Here. On Sunday, I went from the sublime to the ridiculous, because then I saw Josh Gad and Andrew Reynolds in Gutenberg, the musical. Saturday night, I also got to see the revival of Spamalot. And I met Eric Idle, one of my idols, myself. I will be posting that review shortly, along with Shucked, and that, of course, starred the Tony Award winner Alex Newell. I can't review them all tonight because of time constraints, but I did want to mention two of the ones that I saw in particular. A closing notice was posted for David Byrne and Fatboy Slim's Here Lies Love, and this is an immersive experience. It'll be closing, unfortunately, on November the 26th, but this show was amazing, a unique production. The audience can actually view the show from traditional seats up in the balconies, but For those of you who want to be able to be immersed in it truly, they have a dance floor, and people, hundreds of people are on the dance floor in a disco. It moves, the stage moves, everybody moves, and this is the story of Imelda and Ferdinand Marcos, replete with a DJ. It's an all-Filipino cast. I chose to stand and move along the floor there, as you can see, with everybody there. It was unlike any other Broadway experience I've ever had, and for one time, I was on stage right along with the leading performers. Now, those included Jose Lana, who was last seen here in the National Touring Company of The King and I, where he played the king, and also, of course, was Ariel Jacobs. The stars, Imelda Marcos. Here Lies Love. She replaced the incredible Lea Salonga in this cast. If you can get a ticket, don't miss this fantastic experience. It closes a week from this coming Sunday. Ariel was also involved in the other show that I want to talk about tonight. That was at the opening of Harmony, because that's the Barry Manilow and Bruce Sussman show that's been 26 years in coming to Broadway. Ariel came by to congratulate none other than Sierra Bogas there, the two of them, the original Ariel from The Little Mermaid and the former Christine Daae from Phantom of the Opera, two beautiful leading ladies of Broadway. The two female roles in Harmony, however, are done with, of course, Sierra on the right, but also Julie Benko, who famously played Fanny Brice as the standby during the entire run when Beanie Feldstein had it and also when Leah Michele had it, and she'd had Thursday nights all to herself. She got fantastic plaudits as Fanny Brice. She plays Rose, a revolutionary, opposite Sierra, who plays, of course, Mary. Both of them fall in love with the comedian harmonist. That is, the two men who are in the comedian harmonist. June, of course, I mentioned Julie, seen here with yours truly, loves New Orleans. She came to New Orleans on her honeymoon. She loves the culture and the music especially, and she's had a special show done all about New Orleans music. So she'll be here. Hopefully, I'll be able to meet up with her when she does come back. Now, we also have Chip Zien. He is the cast leader, if you will. He's the star. The male cast of Harmony is a story about the comedian harmonist, the German boy six-part harmony group that was the toast of the continent, and even played at Carnegie Hall here in New York. They sold millions of albums, but unfortunately ran afoul of the Nazis. Chip, who's a friend of mine, was the original Baker from Into the Woods, and just played on Broadway in the Tony Kushner and Janine Tesori, Carolina Change. There's no doubt he'll be nominated for a Tony. And playing his understudy right next to him is Stuart Zagnut right here, who famously played with him in Carolina Change as the other grandfather role. Also, coming up, Peggy, just before I go, Lisette, the New Orleans Opera, will be presenting this, is of course Lisette Oropesa, the coloratura, with the Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra. Check that out Friday, December the 1st at 7:30 p.m. at the Mahalia Jackson Theater for the Performing Arts.
All right. Thank you so much, Alan. Well done, sir. Brian,
Yes, ma'am.
New Orleans and World War I,
Yes.
a reminder to folks, because we're such an important port for both World War I and II, a lot of soldiers were coming out at the time, and also this is the height of Storyville. So
Yes.
give us a little bit of the flavor of what was going on at that time.
Sure. Lots was the book is really not about World War I, but World War I is the framework for those 2 years, 1917 and 1918. And the war nourished, for example, the Women's Suffrage Amendment as well as the Prohibition Amendment, and that is a big part of the book, which is interesting given that New Orleans is such a wet city, but yet but the Dries win the election and the amendment is passed.
Was this an anti-German thing too, because of the
That was-
Brewers?
Yeah, I was
perhaps?
going to say that.
Yeah.
The Dries were, first of all, much more well organized than the Wets. That's a given. But they also cleverly linked patriotism and support President Wilson and the war with the Prohibition Amendment.
Yes.
Because beer was associated so much with the Germans, and the major breweries in the city, and there were more than a few, were owned by German people.
And you also had a very dynamic mayor, Martin Berman.
We did. Very underappreciated, in my view. Berman was very popular. He was elected 5 different times.
Wow.
So he was in office for over 16 years. He died after his 5th election. Started off in 1906, actually, and then he died in this when he was reelected in 1924. But very supportive of the war, real cheerleader for the war. And of course, the city was in the clutches of Jim Crow at the time. But one of the most interesting things I was able to uncover was his moderation when it came to Jim Crow. For example, a real eye-opener was once the African-American troops were ready to go to training camp at Fort Pike, Arkansas, and they had this. He sponsored Afro-American Day, so it was a day to give tribute to the African-American soldiers. Big parade. They stopped in front of Gallier Hall. He tipped his hat to the African-American boys that were about ready to go to war. And it's interesting that there were more than a few white members in the crowd that were there cheering the parade as they marched by. And a Times-Picayune reporter noted that he saw that at the train terminal, as they boarded the train, the white people in the audience pulled back from the railroad car so that the friends and relatives of those soldiers could give their, So there was a real respect for those African-American soldiers as well.
And of course, we have to remember that 1919, so 2 years after what you're focusing on, Storyville closes.
Right,
So you're at
Storyville.
the height of Storyville at this point.
Right. Storyville, of course, the prostitution was verboten. Excuse the choice of words there, but of course the War Department really was not kind to any of the red light districts throughout the country, and particularly Storyville was in the bomb site. There's no question about it because it was so well known, so popular.
And with the soldiers,
Mayor Berman,
the young soldiers,
right. Not only in New Orleans but also Camp Shelby, nearby Camp Shelby, Mississippi, but Berman wanted to maintain control over the money that was coming into the city. It was an economic engine for New Orleans, and so he trained to Washington, D.C. to lobby against the closure of it, along with a couple of...
It was great for the economy, wasn't it?
It was great for the economy, great for him. And he was successful because the Secretary of War, Newton Baker, was a former mayor of Cleveland, Ohio, and he said, "Look, I can take care of this." Berman said, "I've got my police force out, the military police." But these soldiers, what they would do, they would come into Storyville and they would rent civilian clothes from taxi drivers, and so they got out of their uniforms so that they would not be identified as soldiers. So it didn't work. So eventually they closed Storyville as well.
Well, Brian, my goodness, so many wonderful stories. Congratulations. Now
you.
in paperback, we should say too, available at all local bookstores and online as well. But it's a really great book. I love the book so much they actually did a blurb on the back of it.
did.
So that's how much I love this book. So read it. Great for Christmas gifts. Okay. Thank you. And on Thursday, November 30th, WYES will present a brand new documentary called Literary New Orleans. Here's a sneak peek.
New Orleans is not a place that you can ignore. And the people, the places, and the scenes all create characters.
Characters in plays, poems, and books written by New Orleanians and those who found inspiration here.
I always felt more alive and less isolated when I was writing about New Orleans.
Often the story behind the story is just as creative.
If it hadn't been for her determination, Confederacy would never have been published. The most New Orleans of all the New Orleans books.
New Orleans has been such an incredibly fertile setting for the literary imagination.
I'm Peggy Scott Laborde. Join me for the new WYES documentary, Literary New Orleans. Premieres November 30th at 7 p.m. on WYES. All right, Literary New Orleans will premiere, as we said, November 30th, 7 p.m. It will run in place of Steppin Out. It will also be seen streamed on WYES.org and the WYES and PBS apps. Go to WYES.org for more details about the program. Time for picks, Poppy.
If you're sick of the turkey by Saturday and Sunday, go to Mr. Mao for Here Comes the Chuck Wagon Brunch. They've started doing it Saturdays and Sundays. It's completely different.
Okay, Alfred.
We've got two things on the menu. Number one, the Holiday Cabaret with Phil Melanson, Heidi Melanson, and people like myself. Strangely enough, I'm part of this. That's going to be on the 3rd, the 10th and the 17th of December at the Monkey Hill Bar. You'll get a lot of fun there. There's a lot of fun with all the group. And, of course, my dear friend Danny O'Flaherty is back, and he's going to be at the JPAS for his Celtic Christmas concert on Sunday, December 10th at 2 p.m. at the Jefferson Performing Arts Center.
Thank you, dear Alan.
Okay, two things for me, too, very quickly. There's still room to walk the Ten Commandments hike with me on the day after Thanksgiving, along with the Boy Scouts and all the other scouts that are out there on Carrollton and St. Charles Avenues. We're going to start this year at the JCC with a dual presentation that's going to be made with the Jewish and Islamic faiths, and we hope that people will go out there and check it out. Please, very, very affordable. It's only $12 now. Also, the most widely produced play in regional theaters this past year was James Iams' Fat Ham. That's a retelling of Hamlet that's set in a black family's crazy barbecue. Le Petit Theater is sponsoring a reading of it. Where else? At Crescent City Barbecue on the corner of North Rampart and Esplanade. It's free, but you'd have to have an RSVP online first. I'll see you at the theater.
All right. And Brian, you do talks, or if somebody wants to connect with you, your email address.
It's WW2, the number 2, Brian, B-R-I-A-N, at Gmail.
All right. Thank you so much. And now my picks. Do not forget Sunday's Piety Market at Hotel St. Peter and Paul at 2317 Burgundy, noon to 5 p.m. Sheepy and the Hen will be performing, and there'll be lots of art, vintage, clothes, and Christmas gift shopping opportunities. This weekend, WYES presents a feature film starring 2 New Orleans natives who have both been guests here on Steppin' Out, Billy Slaughter and Lance E. Nichols. They are featured in the cast of Mysterious Circumstance, the death of Meriwether Lewis, which dramatizes the mystery surrounding the death of the explorer of Lewis and Clark, of course, Meriwether Lewis. It was shot actually along the Natchez Trace in Mississippi and stars John Schneider of the Dukes of Hazzard. So tune in. That's Sunday, November 19th. He was actually the executive producer on that, too. And don't forget, also coming up, we have got the 4th annual the Human Horse Races. And that's going to be Thanksgiving Day at Easton Park, right there over on Toulouse Street. Go to humanhorseraces.com, but you can compete, and they appreciate any kind of donations. And the Improvisations Gala is coming up December the 2nd. That's at the Mint. It's going to be incredible. Look at Jason Neville and the Funky Soul Band and the First Lady of Soul and Funk. And then we also have a calendar that we wanted to show you. It's the 2024 Parades calendar. That's by really nicely done by Cynthia Hebert Johnson. And it really includes great photography. You can go to her website, Cynthia Johnson Aber, I should say. And inside, look at that, the Funny 40 Fellows. It's also available at Octavia Books. So all kinds of good things there. And don't forget the Mid-City Art Studio. That is coming up on December the 2nd. So all kinds of great things. And next week, we focus on food with Poppy and Ian. Thank you all so very much, and happy Thanksgiving. Bye-bye.
Programming on WYES is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
Public television is our passion. With so much content that WYES broadcasts and presents online, we are quite entertained and highly informed.
Please join us in supporting WYES.
The American Italian Cultural Center and Museum on South Peters in New Orleans offers event venue space, Italian language classes, dual citizenship and translation services, seminars, genealogy, and trips to Italy. Ciao, AmericanItalianCulturalCenter.com. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.